cents short of 15 rand to the US dollar. That's where the rand is standing at the moment. So 38 billion rand worth of measures announced today for those affected by the recent riots and the continued effects of the lockdowns. The measures, which include the extension of the 350 rand monthly payments to unemployed people, will cost about 27 billion rand. Vusi Themekwayo is the founder and CEO of MyGrowthFund. He joins me now for reaction to the Finance Minister's support package. Vusi, thanks indeed for talking to us. So we've got the numbers. 38 billion rand is the total. This will not be borrowed, chiefly money used from better than expected tax returns, we are told this afternoon. But I just want to get a sense from you, Vusi, as to whether those uninsured affected businesses and households will continue to feel strain, or should they be feeling a little bit more secure this afternoon, Vusi?
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here, and just greetings to all the viewers at home. I think first, congratulations to Dondo and his team, the technical team at Treasury, who, in my mind, have pulled the rabbit out of the bag with this. I think they've done really, really well in what are very testing and trying times. But the question does remain, will the businesses that need this support get it? The question at the end of the day can only be answered by government, because government is going to set the criteria for whether or not, for how those funds are going to be accessed. So, for instance, you might imagine, and it's often the case, that for many small businesses, in particular micro businesses and exempt businesses, that tax compliance is a big, big challenge for them. And not because they don't want to comply, but because their cash flows don't allow them to comply. Recognize we've been in 400 and something days, I think it's 480 something days now of this lockdown. A lot of these micro businesses have been affected by the lockdown measures. It's affected their livelihoods, their incomes, their profitability, etc. And a number of them won't be compliant. And I think the plea to government would be, help the businesses that were affected, not the businesses that are compliant. Because if they do that, they will, I would guarantee you, almost certainly destroy at least 50% of the businesses that were affected by this looting.
Vusi, that's a very interesting point, and we heard that being mentioned in the presser this afternoon. I think the Treasury's Isma Momaniat, as well as the SARS Commissioner Edward Kieswetter, is saying that the registration and the official status of these businesses, if they do not have that, it does pose a problem tracking them down. I want to move to something else very quickly. It's interesting that the Minister also lamented the economic damage being done in the recent riots, saying that there will be hefty multiplier effects on the entire country's economic system. Now, one hopes that this is not repeated in the future, so that money is, not taken away from creating jobs, from investment, and redirected to relief efforts. What do you think?
I mean, we certainly hope so. South Africa's greatest problem still is that our resources don't go to the sectors of our system, of the country, that produce more resources. That is to say, we have more money going towards social aspects, health, education, et cetera, than we do going towards economic multipliers. That's not altogether a bad thing. The problem then is that sooner or later we get into this position we're in now, where there just isn't enough to go around, and there isn't enough to take care of all of our pressing needs. There is still, that's first. The second is there is still an issue around efficiencies from government, how quickly it does the things it needs to do. 2 weeks after the riots is probably record time, but it's also 2 weeks after. Many of the businesses that have been affected can't survive a day without an income, really. So 2 weeks after means that there are definitely businesses that haven't survived this far. They won't survive beyond this point. And then to place the additional burden on them, I think, is going to be something that in my mind is unpalatable. And I would not want to be in the invidious position of many of those business owners. I think the most important thing we have to get right in South Africa today is we have to respond faster to all of the issues that South Africa is facing. That's absolutely fundamental.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, because of time, we'll have to leave it there. But some interesting remarks there. Vusi Themekwayo is the founder and CEO of MyGrowthFund. So